himself and Bo Nix, after that amazing fourth quarter against the Giants. The amazing fourth quarter against the Giants. 4 great quarters this week against Dallas. Now, Dallas has been a bit of a quarterback stat inflation program. However, he was awesome. When Caleb did it, I bumped him. Got to be fair, Bo Nix, highest spot so far this year.
Highest spot so far this year. And it's still way too low. This is the closest we got to some Bo Nix flowers. And Denver Broncos fans and Bo Nix fans, I am bringing it in this one. You guys are going to love this video. Seriously, you're going to love this video. I crunched all the numbers. I made the graphics. We are doing such a deeper dive in this because I really want to know. One, why is Bo Nix still so low? And 2, why are and were other quarterbacks, especially earlier in the year, getting MVP considerations like Baker Mayfield and Patrick Mahomes, of course, and Bo Nix is not. And we're gonna unpack this, and I like I said, I can't wait. I got some numbers for you that are gonna blow your mind, and we're gonna discuss why is Bo Nix being so under discussed. But listen, I'm recording this video day before, so I'm actually gonna be in the hospital with my parents. My dad's getting surgery. Hopefully, nothing too crazy. So I'll be, I'm excited. I'm so excited to post this video, and I'm going to be in the comment section while I'm in the waiting room. Hopefully you guys can all just watch the full length of this video, and subscribe. When you guys do that, it is without a shadow of a doubt the best way to support the growth of this channel. And you guys know, like, I go so hard. I try my best to put out the best possible content. That's why I'm so excited to show you what I got in store right now. But if you guys can all subscribe, watch the full length of the video, when you do that, it just creates an absolute avalanche effect. We get to just add hundreds and hundreds, thousands of subscribers. The views go through the roof. And again, like I always emphasize, it's not just about chasing views. It's about having conversation. It's about creating videos and content that people want to be part of, that they want to discuss, so we can build an actual community that is firmly, and I mean this, firmly rooted in the sports talk world. So I can create a Denver Broncos video that people hear, that your voices are heard, that we get to discuss and get after it. And without further ado, let's jump right into it right now, because I'm pumped. We're gonna have fun. We're gonna start slow with the lowest hanging fruit right now. In the last two games, because we know we all got some confirmation bias, Bo Nix is second in the NFL in passing touchdowns with 6. 7th in the NFL in passing yards, 526. He's 8th in the NFL in rushing yards, 47. Rushing touchdowns, 2. Yards per rush attempt, 1st in the NFL. And yet he's also 1st in the NFL. This is one of the most under-discussed things for Bo Nix's performance, in drops. 9 drops. The next closest is 6. So even when things are being stacked against him, Bo Nix has clearly been a top. In 2 games, having 9 drops is insane, by the way. That is insane. And yet he's still 7th in passing yards and 2nd in passing touchdowns. It's interesting. And it gets deeper than this. Way deeper than this. This season, now, the whole season, not just the last 2 games, Bo Nix has 15 passing touchdowns. 6th in the NFL. Patrick Mahomes has 17. That's only 2 more. Baker Mayfield, the MVP extraordinaire, 13. Huh, that's weird. Bo Nix is below Baker Mayfield and whatnot. Baker was an MVP. Baker at one point was top of the mountain. That doesn't really make sense. Maybe it was because Baker had some like comeback wins and stuff, and they were like kind of a top seed in the NFL. But then Bo Nix has some literally historic comeback wins, being the only quarterback ever to have 2 passing touchdowns and 2 rushing touchdowns in the fourth quarter. 33 points in the fourth, like absolutely historic. Come back, beat the defending Super Bowl champions, the Philadelphia Eagles, who were undefeated. Some big epic comeback wins. Maybe it's more of a statistical argument. Maybe as we get deeper, we'll see maybe why Bo Nix is so low and is not getting the benefit of the doubt or MVP nods like some other quarterbacks were. Okay, well, he's 8th in passing yards with 1,803, but it's his completion percentage, right? His completion percentage, he's at 62.8%. It's on the low end. It is. It's on the low end. But Baker has 63.9% completion percentage. So I don't know why Baker's not getting a knock for that. And it's only a 1% difference, which, to be fair, depending on the amount of volume, 1% can be pretty big. It's always, you got to kind of look at it a little bit more closely. I think 1% in a shorter span of a season is maybe not as much, maybe over a longer term. We'll see. But what about all those pesky drops, though, right? That's where the adjusted completion percentage comes from. Bo Nix has a 77.3% adjusted completion percentage. So again, I always talk about this. It factors in throwaways and it factors in drops. Well, it just so happens that Bo Nix's drops are through the roof, as I highlighted before. And Bo Nix has 8 more drops than Baker Mayfield. And his adjusted completion percentage is 77.3, where Baker's is 71.8%. Now, that's a massive difference. That is a massive difference. And Bo Nix now is 1% shy of the top 10 in adjusted completion percentage and 2% shy of being in the top 5. So now we are talking about a game event, like very tiny, very tiny. Also, you know what helps? When your receivers catch the ball and don't drop the ball, and then you're able to work the field. You're able to do different throws. Doesn't matter. We'll talk about it more. Then we got, this was a typo, not play to score percentage. I don't know what that is. It's pressure to sack percentage. Autocorrect, doing me dirty right now. But should have proofread. But 10.1%, third in the NFL. Absolutely amazing. The pressure to sack percentage is one of the most valuable statistics out there because we know how devastating sacks can be, but we also know how the O-line factors into how many sacks you're going to get. So this pressure to sack percentage is specifically on the shoulders of the quarterback. When the pressure is reaching you, are you escaping the pressure? Yes or no? Are you throwing the ball away? Are you able to escape with your legs? Right? It's multi-factored. Bo Nix is third in the NFL. Baker's at 14.4%, and he's 13th in the NFL. What about turnover-worthy plays? Bo Nix has 8. Baker Mayfield has 13. Baker Mayfield's second in the NFL in turnover-worthy plays. I didn't write this down for Bo. I think he's like 11th or 13th or 14th. A little bit higher than you would want, but not second in the NFL, that's for sure. How about rushing yards? Bo Nix has 171 rushing yards. Baker, only 158. Rushing touchdowns, Bo Nix has 3. 6th in the NFL, by the way. Baker has 0. So, Bo Nix actually scores more touchdowns, has more rushing yards, has more total touchdowns, more rushing yards, has to do more for his team, and yet all this time Baker was an MVP, top of the mountain, and Bo Nix is 15th. There's got to be more, right? Maybe there's some other stuff here. There's got to be some other numbers. The deep ball. Bo Nix has been so bad at the deep ball, right? He's been so inaccurate, so bad. His deep ball completion percentage is 36.4%. Baker's is 35.9. Wait, so Bo Nix has actually been more accurate? But then why did Baker have so much success and Bo Nix didn't? Deep ball adjusted completion percentage, 45.5% for Bo Nix. Baker, 38.5. So not only a better regular completion percentage, but then also the adjusted completion percentage. And to be clear, those are now specifically drops. You're not really throwing the ball 30 yards down the field as a throwaway because of pressure. I mean, I'm sure there's maybe a instance of that, but that's obviously not really happening. But how about the average depth of target for the deep ball? Because deep ball is now anything 20 or more yards. Bo Nix, first in the NFL. So Sean Payton has him ripping the ball, 33.7 yards. Baker Mayfield, 27.6, 23rd in the NFL. That is actually a really big difference. It really is. It doesn't feel like it's as big of a difference, but it is. We know this in football. 5 yards, 4 yards, 3 yards. Those are all huge differences. There's a big difference between a 5-yard pass and a 10-yard pass. There just is. I mean, just if you've never played sports before, I mean, if you played sports, you know that. If you never did, go crumble up a piece of paper and stand real close to the wall and try to hit a spot and keep going farther and farther back and show me how much your accuracy dips. Okay? So the difference between around 6 yards at 6, over a little, 6.1 yards, quick math, is actually pretty big. It's pretty substantial, especially when you're talking about deep ball now. The difference of trying to factor in 33, it's a little bit different if you're going from 3 to 6 for sure. 33 to 27, that's a difference. And Bo Nix has 6 deep ball touchdowns. Should be 7, could be 8 because of the drop passes, but definitely 7. Definitely 7. And Baker's got 8, which is great. Again, this video is not meant to knock Baker Mayfield by any stretch of the imagination. Baker Mayfield has been great. I'm specifically using Baker as a reference point, because Nick has had him so high, even has him higher now, even though Bo Nix has clearly been better, and he had Baker as an MVP candidate. How does it make sense? And you want to tell me, well, Baker's been doing it with all the injuries and the receivers. His receivers have been playing better. They're getting more yards after catch. They're catching the ball at a more significantly higher rate than them. What is it? What is it? Why can Bo Nix be so low? Why can Baker Mayfield reach the mountaintop? And you're like, well, because he had some come from behind wins. What did Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos do? They also actually beat the Philadelphia Eagles. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers didn't. Baker Mayfield didn't. Kind of crazy. Very crazy. Not kind of. Very crazy. So I just want to know. Why so low, Bo? Why so low, Bo? And why do we absolutely praise and have an absolute avalanche of just praise and praise and praise for what Baker Mayfield was doing? Again, with more reliable receivers, as much as it pains me to say for the Denver Broncos, as someone who believes in that Denver Broncos team. But yet then Bo Nix does it either better or equal or right around equal. And yet it's nothing. How does that make sense? I'd love to know. How does that make any sense? And that's the power of narrative. That's why, as the season unfolded, I really realized, I had my own breaking point where I was just like, I don't really want to get involved in the MVP conversation because it is so narrative based that you get backed into a corner where I'm just arguing other people such strong narratives. And I realized this a little bit last year when we were talking about Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, and it was just it's just the numbers really matter less, and trying to compare what one player is doing with one team and comparing that to another player to another team. But this year especially, everybody, you could see everybody was going all in on Baker MVP, Baker top quarterback, Baker. And it's Baker's been playing great and awesome and deserves so much praise. Absolutely, positively deserves ton of praise. And I'm genuinely happy for him, considering he had 1 foot out of the league. Like, you had Colin saying retire. So I'm genuinely happy for him. But it just went so extreme, so heightened, that people were trying to say he's the best quarterback in the NFL right now. And I was like, he's playing great and all. But, like, we just, like, chill out here. And now now Bo Nix is doing this stuff. Again, has better numbers, even if we want to use a shorter sample size, which is what we had to deal with with Baker at the time. Bo Nix is doing it, and yet doesn't get that bump, doesn't get that oomph. And this is why I also push back on the whole, well, doing it injured, this or that, and it's just like for any quarterback, for any team, any quarterback. Because, right, Bo Nix has had his receivers, yet his receivers have more drop balls than the whole, Baker Mayfield's doing it without his wide receiver 1, 2, 3, 4, which is, like, never even accurate. Because Ibuka has been a bona fide wide receiver 1, okay? And he missed, like, a couple quarters or something. And, and Godwin played a whole, and again, I'm not going to pretend like it's been easy for Baker, but, like, his team has been rising to the occasion, at least his receivers in some of those moments more than Bo Nix had. Like, that matters. And we ripped Bo Nix for having some, like, inaccurate throws, which he was. He had some overthrows, no doubt about it. I discussed it. But then so did Baker Mayfield. I made a video showing all of the poor throws by Baker. Safe to say, it was well received by Baker fans. And like I said, I'm trying to emphasize, I'm not, and I would be doing the same thing for other quarterbacks as well. That's why I threw in Mahomes as what's not, and I could have used Stafford, Dak or whatever, but I just think it really illustrates the point because we know Mahomes, we know Stafford, Super Bowl winners, been around forever, etc., etc. Baker, to me, is the most unique placeholder here because he's had some success, he's had some failures. He hasn't had the levels of success of, say, a Mahomes, Stafford, etc., etc. People were kind of like, who is Baker Mayfield? They're still trying to figure out who Baker Mayfield is, like they're doing with Bo Nix. They're not trying to figure out who Stafford is. They're not trying to figure out who Josh Allen is. They're not trying to figure out Mahomes is. They're not trying to figure out who Dak Prescott is. They're still trying to figure out who Jalen Hurts is, honestly. But Baker just seemed to be the best comp, especially because he had, like I said, ton of momentum, ton of praise, and all of that. And how here we have Bo Nix doing more, equal or more, than Baker Mayfield, and yet he's still below Baker and hasn't gotten anything close to the amount of attention. And I just want to know why. That's really what I want to know. Why did we have a whole video? We had days of content about Baker losing to the Eagles. We had days of content about Baker Mayfield beating the New York Jets. We had days of content of Baker Mayfield beating the 49ers, who were decimated with injuries. And yet it's kind of whispers about Bo Nix. And again, people were like, the Dallas Cowboys are going to win that game. The Denver Broncos offense is not good enough. As Nick said, if the Cowboys can score 20 points, then the Broncos have no chance at winning that game. And the Broncos now annihilated, absolutely destroyed the Cowboys. It's, everyone eats on the Cowboys. And there is truth to that. Everyone does eat with the Cowboys. Like, that is fair. And like, as Nick is saying, well, I got to be fair because I did elevate Caleb. But it was like, you didn't have that mentality, though, going into the game, though. Which means you underestimated even more so of what Bo Nix and Denver Broncos can do. Which means they should get even more credit, not less. Because you knew about that Cowboys defense, yet you did not think that Bo Nix and the Broncos could rise to the occasion. So it seems like we have a consistent undervalued perception of Bo and the Broncos. And I think my graphics, my charts, my numbers, my stats, I don't know, man. See a lot of top 5, top 6, top 3, top 2, top 1 numbers here for the season. And with some direct comps to either Mahomes, Baker, whatever. Deep ball, rushing, sacks, passing, touchdowns, completion. I mean, it's all there, man. It's all there. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. Definitely feed the comment section. Like I said, I'll be responding to a lot of comments for sure. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. How do you feel about Bo Nix? How do you feel about him being 15th right now and still just not getting the love, and the Broncos as a whole? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all generally feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.